Through my expert understanding, I will now rate all of the WoW's tier zones, and I'm going to say which ones are the best and which ones are the opposite of the best, which is the worst. Okay, so the first one we have is Thousand Needles. Okay, current Thousand Needles, I think does look really cool, but honestly, with a lot of the post-Cataclysm zones, I feel like they don't have the soul. They're missing the soul of the game that the original Thousand Needles really had. And I think of the Thousand Needles, and I think of killing Jeff's character by jumping it off the edge whenever he was in the town. And I can't do that anymore because there's water there now. And so that kind of kills my nostalgia. Then on top of that, the Shimmering Flats was like the best leveling zone in all of classic WoW. It was fucking ridiculous. And so I'm gonna put this at good, because I do think that the quests and being able to sail around in the boat and everything, I think this is definitely good. Okay? Alterac Mountains, I don't really care about this zone a whole lot. I feel like Alterac Mountains is just it is an average, like, there's like no quests there. Most of the places in the area don't make sense. Like, you have to run all the way over, all the way back. This is a lore zone, okay? Alterac Mountains exists in the lore, and so it exists in the game for just none other purpose than to show that these things exist in the lore. It's not even a real zone. Exactly. We're going to put this in the bad. Antoran, okay, all right. So let's see here. So Antoran Wastes is obviously going to be awful. Now, Antoran Wastes is what you would like to call, it's a machine gun dildo machine, because it just fucks you in the ass in multiple ways. Like, after you get done with one of them, it's just like that, dude, like that. It is the worst zone in the game. It has verticality problems. It has this lava on the ground that randomly kills you. Antoran Wastes is, in my opinion, one of the worst zones that Blizzard has ever made. Back in Legion, going through Antoran Wastes was not fun. It was the opposite of fun. You could even say it was awful. The next one, Arathi Highlands. Now, Arathi Highlands is a beautiful zone. In classic World of Warcraft, I'm going to say this is a great zone, because the Stromgarde questlines, the Fosruk questlines, and I might say something that might trigger some people here, but I'm going to say it anyway. The new BFA updated Arathi Highlands, I like it. I think they did a great job. I think that it's really cool. And in terms of like visually, it's really cool. Obviously, it doesn't have the same depth that the original one had to it, but in terms of like a visual area, I think that it does a great job. So I'm gonna put Arathi Highlands into the great category. Now, Ashenvale. You know what I used to call this zone? Ashenvale. Because I fucking hated this zone. Is it decent or bad? What do you guys think? It's one or the other. It's either decent or bad. You guys, I'm thinking decent too. Like, because this is my personal opinion, and I would put Ashenvale into the decent category. I think that's what makes the most sense. Now, the next one. Oh, shit. Ashran. Trash can? Okay. I think that Ashran was a very ambitious idea. I think there were a lot of cool things about Ashran. I'm going to put Ashran. I know this might upset some people, but I am going to put Ashran in the decent category. And the reason for that is that I think Ashran took a lot of chances. They did things that were different. They wanted to go with a different direction with the game and with what PvP could be. And I like how they merged PvP and PvE. They had certain special effects that you could get. There were a lot of really cool things that they had in Ashran. Now, I understand that the game was not ideal, okay? but I think Ashran did have its own unique appeal, and it had its own reward structure and system, and I think that it was decent, okay? It was just simply decent. That's all. Decent. Azuna. I feel like this is either great or amazing, like one of the two. Like, all of the Legion zones I think were really good. I think that I'm gonna put Azuna. The visuals of Azuna are fucking phenomenal. The only thing I didn't like about Azuna is that I didn't like that they didn't have more integration with like the more high level areas in Azuna. I didn't like that a whole lot, but whenever you combine, like, so Azuna has like the destroyed Night Elf ruins, it has like the Isle of the Wardens, it has like the Demon Isle, and it has like the corrupted hippogriff, or sorry, long forgotten hippogriff. It was very, very great zone, and that's why I'm gonna put it in great right here. Now, Ashara. It was like, I feel like somebody said in chat, and I completely agree with this, Ashara was missed potential. The original Ashara, I actually liked it a lot because there wasn't really anything going on there. It was just a unique, different zone that was full of dangerous elites that you needed to be afraid of. It was mysterious, it was foreboding, and I thought that the original Ashara was really cool. And if you add in on top of that, the fact that you were able to summon in Maz, which was the raid boss shark that you had to fight in order to complete the Scepter of the Shifting Sands in classic WoW, I think that's going to take it up a couple of notches. I think Ashara had a lot of really cool things going on, and for a classic WoW zone, it was actually one of the coolest zones in the game, and even though you didn't spend a lot of time on it. So, you know, I'm going to put Ashara in the, I'm going to put it in a decent category. It should be in the great or good category, but I'm going to put it in the decent category. Azuremyst Isle. I think good. I'm going to put this in good. Like, I'm not really a big, I'm not a space goat sex man, all right? So I'm not super into this, but what I will say is that I think that they did a decent job with it, and it could be a lot worse. So I'm gonna put Azuremyst Isle in just a solid fucking good. Okay, it's like I don't really have a strong opinion on it one way or another. Badlands. So do we want to talk about current Badlands or old school Badlands? Let's talk about both of them and then we'll average them together. So the old school Badlands had the dragons that you were able to summon, and they were level 50 elites, and they were off in the Dragon Valley. And there were also other dragons that you had to kill. And the fact that there were elite dragons that you could summon automatically boosts Badlands up by a large degree. The new Badlands is one of the best questing zones in the game. And on top of that, if you look at the destruction that Deathwing created from up in the air, and you look down on it, you can see that it's actually a giant black dick. Like, it's a gigantic dick. Like, you just look down, it's got the two balls on the side, it's a giant fucking dick. And because of that, I'm actually gonna say Badlands overall is an incredible zone. I like it a lot. I think that it's very well done, and everything about it, like the quest lines are really good. It's one of my favorite places to level in. I'm gonna go with Badlands being a great zone, and I'm gonna put it like in order. I'm gonna say Azuna number 1, Badlands number 2, Wrathy Highlands number 3. Blades Edge Mountains. Blades Edge Mountains was a terrible zone to level in. It was absolutely fucking trash. The only redeeming traits about Blades Edge Mountains is the end-game Burning Crusade content that was added after release, and the end-game quest lines that Blades Edge Mountains had in them. For like, you summoned the demon or some kind of shit, I forgot how to do it. And I also liked how Gruul's Lair was integrated into Blades Edge Mountains. I thought that was really good. But overall, I think I'm going to rate Blades Edge Mountains. I'm going to give it it's either bad or decent. Like, I feel like it's either going to be bad or decent. What do you guys think? Bad. Visually, I do want to say, before I put it in here, Visually, Blade's Edge Mountains, actually, you know what? Like, when you take the visuals of Blade's Edge Mountains and, I don't know, like, visually info amazing, yeah. It's got really great visuals, it's got cool in-game content, and it's just not a very good leveling zone. Like, so, like, visuals and content would be up here, and then leveling would be down here, and so does it even out at decent? I feel like it kind of evens out at decent. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's like, I'll just put it in decent for now, and I might change my mind later, okay? Blasted Lands. I love how you guys either say amazing or awful. Like, this is the most torn people have been on something ever. I feel like Blasted Lands is an instance of Blizzard not really doing anything with a lot of potential. Blasted Lands, I felt, had like so much potential, and it was just not really realized. The zones in the game, I think, were pretty good, and the post-Cataclysm Blasted Lands was cool, but at the same time, it wasn't, it didn't get you hard thinking about it. And there was a certain mystery with the Blasted Lands, and I think with that, you know, maybe we could give it a little bit more of a placing. But overall, I think this is just an average zone, and it was also the problem with the with Blasted Lands. The problem with it is that it was supposed to be a lot more, and I think that's really what the disappointment is. Blasted Lands should have been a lot more, and it wasn't. And because of that, I'm going to give it a decent. I'm going to give Blasted Lands a solid decent. It was a decent zone. The Surwich area, which is like the Worgen area, in like the bottom left, I think that was pretty cool. But above Blade's Edge Mountains, yeah, it's above Blade's Edge Mountains, 100%. Bloodmyst Isle. I'd say like maybe it's good. Like the zone, it's just, it doesn't do anything for me, you know? Like it's got the quest lines, and I think that's cool, where you deal with the blood elves, and you know, you create natural enemies with them, so that way, you know, whenever you get up to max level, you feel that way. But I think I'm gonna go with just a solid fucking good. I'm gonna go with a good. Boreal Tundra. Boreal Tundra. Boreal Tundra. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Boreal Tundra. You ride in on a boat through the frigid tundras and the ice caps of the frozen Northrend. You land, and you're immediately confronted with the forces of the Scourge fighting. You have to fight them back and defeat them. After that, you help the walruses get a stick to kill a hydra or something like that. I don't know why you do that. There is so much, and then you're like all inside of Boreal or Boreal Tundra. It's not Boreal Tundra, it's Boreal Tundra. You have dragons, you have the Scourge, you have the Tuskar. Like Boreal Tundra feels like its own fucking ecosystem just by itself. I think Boreal Tundra is one of my favorite zones in the game, and I'm going to give it an amazing. The Broken Shore. So let's look at positives with the Broken Shore. The system that you were using to create like buildings and build the buildings, that was really cool. And the treasure chest systems and everything like that, and the world bosses that would be able to spawn, that was also really cool. The underground gambling mechanic, that was also really cool. I would say the Broken Shore, it was high-end decent, low-end good. Either low good or high decent. One or the other. That's where I think that it's at. It was a decent area, but it wasn't absolutely amazing. Good is fair. You guys think is low good? All right, we can do low good. That's fine. Burning Steeps. So you go into Burning Steps, and let's talk about Classic for just a little bit. You're fighting, you're in Red Ridge Mountains. You've just rescued Captain like Sanders or whatever the fuck his name is, right? The Keyshawn, yeah, Captain Keyshawn, and you just defeated dozens and dozens of orcs, and your dick feels so big that you can step through those black gates. You can go into Mordor, and you can stop the fiery elementals. And then these tiny little elementals that you probably couldn't even see because your camera draw distance was so bad because your computer was built in 1999, you didn't even see them. And they would aggro from so far away, they would shoot you from underground, and your little level 28 warrior is getting destroyed by level 53 imps, and you die. Maybe you escape away with a fraction of your life. And that moment, that humbling experience shows that it's a world of Warcraft. It's not just a little bit, it's a world of Warcraft. Burning Steppes. The quests in the new Burning Steppes are phenomenal. I think that the new Burning Steppes quests are fucking amazing. I really, really like them. They are very well done. The quest line is great, and the way that you like go on the little rocket to the Swamp of Sorrows afterwards is fucking good, dude. I think that it's gonna be a great zone. A little bit better than the Badlands, in my opinion. And also, there's a lot of lore associated with the Burning Steppes. So, like the statue of the guy holding the sword up towards Blackrock Mountain, that's meant to commemorate Anduin Lothar, whenever he fought in the first war against the orcs at Blackrock Mountain. Okay? Like, it's got lore, it's got dragons, it's got the Warlock quest line. It's big fucking dick. Big fucking dick. We're gonna go Burning Steppes is gonna be a great zone. Crystalsong Forest. Fuck you. Your overly rendered and overly designed trees caused my computer to overheat the moment that I would even look at one of them. The fact that the highest graphical intensity zone was directly on top of the city that players would have to be on top of caused me to completely lag out every fucking time that I tried to go to your zone. I couldn't even go to fucking Dalaran. I spent 30 minutes on a loading screen because of Crystalsong fucking Forest. There is no value to this zone. It was a complete missed opportunity. Blizzard did nothing with it in all of Wrath of the Lich King, and they just completely shit all over it. There were no quests. There was nothing to it. It looked cool. That's nice. Oh, that's nice. What are we gonna give a great rating to a turtle because a turtle's cool too? Give me a fucking break. No, we're not gonna do that. Crystalsong Forest was an awful zone. And not only was it would be, if I look at it just visually, it would be decent. But the fact that they fucking took this and they made it and they missed the opportunity to make it better, that was a cock. Wasn't good. Darkshore. Now, Darkshore, the original Darkshore is full of intrigue and mystery, mysticism, and forbidden power. Dangerous, foreboding, mysterious. The new Darkshore, there was an exploit that would allow me to turn in the same quest over and over and over, and I never actually had to do War Master from Darkshore because I exploited it. So I genuinely cannot comment on the new Darkshore because I exploited it. The Warfront for Darkshore. The Warfront zone for the Darkshore. You just tell me. You don't have to DDoS me next time. What the fuck? Just tell me and I'll rate your favorite zone higher. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, man. What a bunch of assholes. So I'm going to put Darkshore as a bad zone. I don't like Darkshore at all. I think that it sucks. And this is my opinion, maybe, but this is my opinion. I think that it's a bad zone. I don't like it. I think that it sucks. Deadwind Pass. In my opinion, Deadwind Pass is a great zone. I think Deadwind Pass is a great zone. I want to explain why. Deadwind Pass is necessary for a world to feel alive. Deadwind Pass is an area in Classic WoW that you never go to, but you know is there. And on those moments that you're walking from Duskwood all the way over to the Blasted Lands for that little quest line, and you see that buzzy bird, you see that big ol' flapper flapping around, and you see he has a skull on his level. You think to yourself, do I ever want to go back here again? And you think to yourself, fuck no, and thank God there's no reason to ever do that. Deadwind Pass is an example of confidence. The game was added with Deadwind Pass inside of it, and it was never made into a raid until Burning Crusade. It was mysterious. It was scary. There was no reason to go there. And I think the fact that there was no reason to go there added to its intrigue and its interest. You knew Karazhan was there. You couldn't get in. You heard maybe of the Karazhan crypts, and that was really cool. But you'd never been there yourself. You had maybe just seen a YouTube video. The mystery the Deadwind Pass created, I think, deserves to make it a great zone. Deepholm. I love Deepholm. I think it's one of my favorite zones. Now, amazing zones, I'm going to be very, very, very conservative with. So I do not want to give out the amazing rating too much. But what I am going to say is that Deepholm is one of my favorite zones to level in. I think that the Therazane questline and the way that you interact and discover them is incredibly well done. The areas in the game that have completely different feels to them make it feel more alive. The significance and the lore of Deepholm is great. The fact that there's an elite raid boss dragon flying around the floating rocks at the top of Deepholm is fucking amazing. And also, it was so hard to kill that you guys probably didn't even know that it existed. I'm going to give Deepholm a great rating. I loved Deepholm, and I think that it deserves this. Desolas. I think it was a bad zone. I do. I think it was a bad zone. I think Desolas, the idea of Desolas was really good. The politics of the Warring Centaur clans was really interesting and cool. But I don't really feel like it was ever truly realized by Blizzard. I don't think they ever really did anything with it to really show that this is what we're going after. This is what we're trying to do. FCAM, fucking stupid ass bullshit goddamn piece of shit program. I can't get anything right. This is so fucking stupid. I hate this goddamn piece of shit. We're gonna give Desolas, we're gonna give it a bad rating. I think Desolas is a genuinely bad zone, and I don't think that it deserves a very high rating at all. It is a mediocre zone that could be much better. Okay. Just like my camera, apparently. Dragon Blight. You enter Dragon Blight. You're instantly confronted with the Tonka and their natural enemies, the Anubicons. Whatever the fuck they are. The Jol Narub guys. The Nerubians. You then are sent to fight and rummage through the ashes of the destroyed mages that died fighting for the Surge Needle. You discover their stuff. You fly up to the top of it. You take a teleporter, and you discover what's going on up there. You then go down to the bottom, and you talk to a you talk to a walrus, and he says, I need you to kill a shark. But first, before you kill the shark, you have to kill a crab. And so you kill the crab, and then you kill the shark, and then you steal the babies from the raccoons that he's fighting against. Finally, after all of that, you make your way, and you meet Alexstrasza, the Dragon Queen. And she tells you, there are these assholes, and you've got to get them. So you know what you do? You get them. The assholes are the Magmatars. They're cool looking, and they're dangerous, and they're all elites. You go all the way down to the bottom, into the Emerald Grove, and you defeat a bird. You go all the way up to the top, and you interact with like this, the Obsidian Dragon Shrine. You work with yourself, a former version of your future version of yourself, to rebalance the sands of time. You then go with the Alliance or with the Horde, depending on what faction you are, and you go and you fight back the Scourge in their own domain. You defeat their most powerful allies, and you even destroy the Scarlet Crusade in their main stronghold. You know what? Dragonblight is the greatest great zone. It might be an amazing zone. I'm so torn, guys. What do you think? And you have the Wrathgate cinematic. That's right, I forgot all about that. The Wrathgate makes it amazing. Boom, there it is, you're right. Dread Wastes. You know what I used to dread Wastes? You guys think what do you guys think about Dread Wastes? Now, unearthing and reuniting the Paragons of Power with the Calaxi, and knowing that they would eventually turn against you, but thinking that you had to help them anyway because they were a means to an ends. The gigantic... What I liked the most about Dread Wastes, what's going to make me put Dread Wastes from a decent zone into a good zone, is because the amount of effort that they put into Dread Wastes and making it much more expansive and complex than they needed to be. And also the fact that there were whale sharks off the coast of Dread Wastes. That right there is what I think makes Dread Wastes a good zone. I think Dread Wastes is a good zone. I like it a lot. Justvar. Now, whenever we talk about BFA, and BFA being dog shit ass garbage, piece of shit, stupid expansion, waste of $40, etc. The one thing that we always say is accept. Accept Justvar. Justvar, I think, is one of the best zones that Blizzard's ever made. And you know what? Honestly, I think it's amazing. I think that it is an amazing zone. The quest lines are complete. They make sense. They're clean. The zone itself is amazing. The music in the zone is amazing. The quests in the zone are great. I think about it like this, guys. I like Justvar so much that the fact that I disconnected and I couldn't log back on BFA release night, and that ended up causing me to lose server first with my group, and I was in Justvar when that happened, despite that, I'm still gonna rate it amazing. I am still gonna rate it amazing. I think this is an incredibly well done zone, and I like it a lot. Dunmorrow. I think this zone sucks. Like, I'll be honest, I think this zone sucks. I think it's a bad zone. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'll give it decent, okay? I'll give it decent. I don't know. I don't like it. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? I think it's decent. Okay, fine. It's decent. It's not. Listen, I grew up as a human. I didn't grow up a gnome. I didn't grow up as a dwarf. So I don't understand the nostalgia you guys have about this zone. I don't get it. I've done it myself, and the only time that I ever do anything in Dun Morrow is to get to level 5 so I can run to Ironforge to take the tram over to Elwynn Forest. I hate this fucking zone. It annoys the shit out of me, but I can objectively see how there are some positives to it. Dun Morrow, I will give a decent to. Duro Tarn. Now, in the moments leading up to World of Warcraft, there was a certain quest line in Warcraft 3. You played as an outcast, stuck between two worlds, the orcs and the ogres, with no place to go, no place to call his home. You played as Rexxar, exploring areas that look just like Durotar. Because of that, I feel like Durotar absolutely deserves a high rating. Going into the caves with the imps, seeing the elite for the first time, beating the shit out of peons. Durotar is a great zone. I would say it's about right here. Durotar is right about there. You beat the shit out of the peons. Duskwood. Duskwood had a world boss in the middle of it. In the heart of Duskwood, the Twilight Glade. You went inside of it. Maybe you just got done killing Morbent Fell, and you thought to yourself, you know what? I can take him on. And that dragon was Imerus. And you fucking died. Duskwood had some of the best quests in the entire game. I still remember Zach and I doing the Morbent Fell quest line together 15 years ago. I remember the mysteries of Morbent Fell and finally earning the opportunity to kill him by dispelling his protective aura. Fighting the way through the crypts, going all the way through there, doing all those quests. It felt good. It felt so good. Duskwood is an amazing zone. Better than Drustfarm. I think actually better than Dragonblight. Maybe on par with Boreal Tundra. Duskwood is an amazing zone. I love Duskwood, and I think that it's really good. Dustwallow Marsh. This is a really tough decision for me to make, okay? This is a very, very tough decision for me to make because I don't know exactly. Okay, so it's got a Nixia in it. That is really cool. It's got Dr. Weevil in it, the Algaz Isle. I think that Algaz Isle keeps it from being awful, okay? But that's literally all it does. Dustwallow Marsh, I think, is a bad zone. I do. I think that it's a bad zone. It's confusing. It's hard to navigate. It's annoying to deal with. The quests are completely out of the way. It's obnoxious. And then they finally added like this ogre encampment or something like that and like fucking patch like fucking 3 point something. And it was a little bit better. But before that, it was just terrible. Like, I don't know. Like, Dustwallow Marsh is okay. But I don't know. I never would want to quest in it before. Elwynn Forest. I think everybody loves Elwynn Forest. I think it's obviously an amazing zone. I like it a lot. I think the Murlocs and the growth inside of it is really good. I think also having the Tower of Azora there to where you would come back to Elwynn Forest and interact with it later, and even having the Arcane Mage hidden artifact appearance quest line lead you back to that tower, 15 years later, that's a big W, okay? It's got Hogger. It's got Hogger. That's like one of the most iconic fucking things in the entire game. Elwynn Forest, in my opinion, is one of the best zones in the game, and it's one of my favorites. So we're absolutely going to give it an amazing. It is one of the best zones in the game. Eastern Plaguelands. The original Eastern Plaguelands, I thought, kind of sucked. It did. It kind of sucked. There wasn't really anything that was going on over there. Most of the points in the game were a waste of time to be in. There was nothing to do. But the new quest line in Eastern Plaguelands that you have now, where you go through with the caravan and you pick up all the different people and all of that, I think that was one of the best new quest lines that's ever been made. And because of that, I'm going to grant Eastern Plaguelands a little bit of a higher rating. And I'm going to say that it's going to be a good zone. I think Eastern Plaguelands is a solid, good zone. A good zone. Not amazing, but it is a good zone. I'm going to move it actually down below 1,000 Needles. Eversong Woods. Now, I don't play Blood Elves. Okay? Let me explain something to you. There's a reason why every class, every race in the game except for Blood Elves could be warriors back in the day. Because they just weren't strong enough. They weren't good enough. They weren't powerful enough. They weren't manly enough to be warriors. But Eversong Woods has the troll area. It has the it's an okay, I think it's a decent zone. It is actually, it's a good zone. I would say it's a high-end good zone, probably in between 1,000 Needles and Eastern Plaguelands. It's better than Eastern Plaguelands, I would say, because it also has like the Highborn stuff in it. You guys think that it's amazing? I'll put it right here, okay? I'll put Eversong Woods right here. I think this is a fair judgment. Fellwood. Fellwood is a good zone. And that's all there is to it. And by good, I mean bottom of the barrel good. Actually, you know what? It's got really good questing. It's got the... No, Fellwood, actually, never mind. Never mind. Okay, so listen to me here, all right? And this is classic logic, all right? So Fellwood, you begin Fellwood and you're dealing with the druids and you're discovering the source of the corruption. And more it leads you to this place called Jadenar. And Jadenar seems to be the epicenter of this poisonous blight that's been infecting the entire forest. And finally, you decide to go into the depths of Jadenar, and through the twisting, turning dungeon of the previously Night Elf ruins, now completely overrun by demons. After probably back then 3 hours of farming all the way back down there, you make your way to the very core, and you find a level 59 elite Dreadlord waiting for you. To think that you had gone all that way, you had done all that time, that right there, that was beautiful. And because of that, I would say that it absolutely deserves to be a good zone. So this is like my own personal preference here, but I like zones that have discovered malevolence. That's a good way to look at it. They have discovered malevolence. And you feel like your shadow hold is colossal. Yeah, and like there's like a mystery and you don't know what's going on. And you finally find it. And then it's scary. And like whenever you're down there, you were like invested for like 30 minutes, an hour trying to do this certain area. And you'd finally make it all the way down there. And because of that, I just feel like the zone, it's just good. And the quest lines are good. You have like the Cenarian salves. Like all of that is really, really clean. I liked it a lot. And I'm absolutely going to give it it's a good zone. It's a very good zone. Feral Ass. The only good part about Feral Ass is the Isle of the Chimeras. I don't know. I think that's the only good thing about it. Like, Dire Maul being such a large, impactful part of the zone, and that having an impact across the entire zone, and showing the impact that it had, and the ogres that were around everywhere, I do think that does have a lot of value, but I don't think that Feral Ass, that in itself, is that great. I don't like it a lot, personally. So I'm going to give Feral Ass, I'm going to give it a decent rating, and I'm going to say it's like right here. Like, I don't think it's that great of a zone, man. I really don't think so. Frostfire Ridge. Visually, Frostfire Ridge is a great zone. I didn't really like the questing in there. I thought it was kind of annoying. A lot of the zones were obnoxious to deal with. I think that the in-game zones in Frostfire Ridge were really good. I like the idea where you were fighting the Grons and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool. And there were a few other things about it that were cool too. But overall, I just didn't really think, I don't think that it really hits the great mark. I think that it's a middle of the road good. It's a middle of the road Garden Nightowl though, and that was really cool. It is a middle of the road good zone. Once you got flying, it was dope. I think it was a good zone. That's about it. Ghostlands. Ghostlands is a great zone. Why is it? Because it's got ZA in it. It's got ZA in it. That's what it is. I've decided. And the fact that it's also got the other quest lines and you're able to wrap around. The questing in Ghostlands is really good. It's compact, it's clean, and for its time, it was really, really good. Gilneas. Gilneas. Gilneas, in my opinion, is not an awful zone. It's not a bad zone. It's not a decent zone. It's not a good zone. It's a great zone. Gilneas is a great zone. The ambience of it is incredible. The questing is very well done. The world itself changes as you go along through it. It is an amazing, it's a great zone. It is almost an amazing zone. The only reason that it's not an amazing zone is the fact that it lost so much potential that it should have had. That's the only reason. Gilneas is a great zone, and I'd say it's in between Azuna and Deepholm. Now Gorgrond. I've already decided. Gorgrond, what is the rating for Gorgrond? You fly into Gorgrond, and the first thing you're greeted with is the malevolence of nature. The purity of nature turned evil. You establish a foothold, and you decide whether you want to be a fighter or you want to cut down trees. And you always go with the cutting down trees because it's just better. There are gigantic elite monsters that are flying around, the Titans of Gorgrond, that you're able to kill. And upon their death, gives you a reward that's a quest that will give you over like 30,000 experience. There are treasures everywhere that you can go and find. The questing is... Gorgrond is the best questing zone in the game. It is the best questing zone in the game, period. There is nothing even remotely fucking close. It is the best. It's the best. And the fact that you have Blackrock Foundry inside of it, you have the outdoor zone of the Blackrock Quarry, and you're able to go down to the very bottom of it and see those elite Blackrock warriors that would just fucking one-shot you. You saw how expansive and massive it was. The Grand, no, there's not even close. You had the two gigantic fucking world bosses inside of Gorgrond. You had the intrigue of the like weird mind-controlling virus that would turn the guys into the withered monsters that you guys always Photoshop my face onto. You had the evil max level guys at the very top. And then even beyond that mountaintop, you had a gigantic Hydra that was just roaming around the coast that had no purpose whatsoever other than to exist. Gorgrond is an amazing zone. The quality of Gorgrond in all ways is amazing. There's not a question. There's not a maybe. It's just a fact. It's just the reality. BRF, though? And it had BRF inside of it. That's right. Secret portal to Timeless Isle, too? Big point. There it is. Grizzly Hills. Best zone in the game. Like, there it is. It's the best zone in the game. It's got the best music in the game. The quest line is fucking incredible. There's so much depth to the quest lines. There's so much variety to the quest lines. I think it's the best zone in the entire game. I will never forget the first time that I listened to Grizzly Hills. It makes me nostalgic and almost emotional every time because it makes me think of all the times I was with my friends whenever we were kids growing up playing that game, and it was just fucking amazing, man. When Thorum in Ulduar says, I remember you in the mountains, those mountains were in Grizzly Hills. Grizzly Hills, best zone in the game, period. Not even a question. Not even a fucking question. Hellfire Peninsula. I think it's a great zone. I think Hellfire Peninsula is a solid, great zone. Now, the reason why I'm not going to put it, so it has the Fel Reaver, it has Maximal content, it has Kha'Zix. The questline, the problem is that structurally, it created a lot of friction between people questing because it was so hard to get the quest done whenever you were on a PvP server back in the day. And so because of that, I think that Hellfire Peninsula does lose a couple of points. But like, the moment, dude, that you stepped through the dark portal and you saw it. You saw the rampaging burning legion. And you saw that big dick pit lord. And you thought to yourself, God damn, I'm never gonna be able to kill him. There's no way. And you weren't. He was fucking OP. The fire thing they did would one-shot you. Nothing you could do about it. It's ridiculous. Hellfire Peninsula is a great zone. I think that it's about right. It's about right here. Yeah, it's about right there. Actually below Durotar. Yeah, it's below Durotar. High Mountain. High Mountain is an instance of Blizzard writing a strong female character and doing it right. It is the best example of them making a strong female character, not making it patronizing, not making it pandering, not making it a weird trope or anything like that. Blizzard did a great job with the quest lines of High Mountain. I think it's probably one of my favorite zones of all of Legion, of all of Legion. And I honestly believe that it's an amazing zone. I think that it's an amazing zone. It really is. I think it's probably the best zone in Legion. The quest line has heart to it. It means something. High Mountain is going to be an amazing zone. I'm going to put it right there. I think that it's better than Drustvar, probably better than Dragonblight. Gorgrond, like, just because of how innovative I thought Gorgrond was, I'm going to keep Gorgrond ahead of it, though. But in terms of quest lines, I think it was fucking amazing. Hillsbrad Foothills. Best PvP zone? No, it wasn't. It was terrible. Like, you guys, like... No, it was not a good zone. Like, you guys are fucking delusional, okay? I'm sorry. You guys are fucking delusional. You did Hillsbrad Foothills. You finally got over there. Half the mobs were too high level. The other half were too low level. And the only quest you had to do was to go and make an overpriced cloak from some dipshit that's got a weird-ass transmog on. And you finally make the cloak, and it sucks. Because by the time that you finish it, you were already in ZF. You're 10 levels higher. And then, oh, go get 10 Murloc heads, kill 50 fucking Murlocs, and you've got 3. It was a waste of fucking time, and then you finally got to do the quest. You're running over to do the Yeti quest, and then Hercule, whatever the fuck the level 42 elite that spawns is, runs over there and fucking ganks you. Why is that? Why is that a thing? I don't know. And it's just, then finally, maybe your horde, or your alliance, and the other faction comes over at level 60 and fucking kills you. The first time that I was ever ganked by anybody everybody in World of Warcraft was on my fucking mage in Hillsbrad Foothills. I was at one of the little steeps up there, and I got killed by a gnome warrior. That was the first fucking time. And I'm putting Hillsbrad Foothills is a good zone. Visually, it's a good zone, but that's it, okay? It is a good zone. That's it. The hinterlands. I think the hinterlands cannot go below good because it had an outdoor raid in it. The Genta Allure gigantic troll city that you would have to ascend to the very top of and then get the item for the quest line in Sunken Temple prevents it from going below good. It's a difference between is it a great or a good zone. I think that it is a low great. Actually, it's a middle of the road good zone. It's a middle of the road good zone. I'm going to put it right there. Yeah, it's a middle of the road good zone. I thought about it a little bit more, and I think that's a little bit more fair. Howling Fjord. It's an amazing zone, right? Like, I mean, like, is there any question there? Like, it's an amazing zone. I absolutely love it. It has the storm giants. The opening horde area is fucking amazing. Visually, it's one of my favorite zones in the entire game. Like, there's not even a question. Like, Howling Fjord, Fjord, excuse me, is an amazing zone. I would say it's better than Dragonblight. Better than High Mountain. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I'll just put it right there for now, though. Second to Grizzly Hills. Yeah, of course. This is some Wrath bias. Well, that's because Wrath had some of the best zones in the game. Mount Hyjal. Great. I think Mount Hyjal is a great zone. I like Mount Hyjal a lot. And also on top of that, I'm lumping in the value of Mount Hyjal on top of the value of the Molten Front dailies. So having the Molten Front dailies and then also the Mount Hyjal stuff and you fighting back, like the entire quest line of the entire zone culminates in a head-to-head 1v1 with Ragnaros. Okay? How the fuck is that not gonna be a great zone? So I'm gonna put it about right here. Actually, let's do right here. Yeah, I think right here is pretty fair. Ice Crown. I think that Ice Crown sucked as a zone. The majority of the zone was unplayable. It was visually a good zone, but it sucked as a zone. It's the same problem as Crystalsong Forest. The only redeeming quality of the zone is the fact that it had the Argent Tournament and it had the quest line where you fight the Viking warlord at the top of the mountain peak. Those were the only two cool things about it. But I really think that Ice Crown was I think it was actually a bad zone. Like I genuinely think that Ice Crown was a bad zone. Like I could maybe be convinced to put it into the decent category, okay? But bottom of the barrel decent. Arthas Quest? All right, middle of the road decent. I didn't think of that. Okay, middle of the road decent. Fine. Isle of Thunder. I think people put Isle of Thunder on a pedestal, but I actually don't think that the zone had a lot of depth to it at all. I think that the zone itself was really good, but I don't believe that it was as good as people think that it was. I think that it was a great zone and not an amazing zone. Like, it was a great zone. It had a lot of different quest lines. It had a lot of different achievements. It had cool rares to do. It had the Warlock Green Fire thing. There were a lot of cool things in that way. It is a great zone, and that's it. I'm going to put it about down here at the bottom. Isle of Thunder was a great zone, but that's it. Jade Forest. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, I didn't like Jade Forest. I thought it was stupid. I think like a lot of the forest areas in the game I don't like because the treetops cover where you can see in the game. And because of that, it really kind of annoys me. I think that it's okay. Besides Elwynn Forest, I think that it is a good zone. That's all I can say. And I'm giving you guys so much by saying it's a good zone. Now, Kazani. I think Kazan was a great zone. It was unique, inventive, and I think that it played into the Goblin fantasy very well. For all of those reasons, I think Kazan absolutely deserves to get a high placing. I think that it was a great zone. It fulfilled exactly what people wanted to see out of a Goblin zone, and I think that it did a great job with that. And because of that, I'm going to give Kazan, it sucks, but it's completely trash. Okay, it wasn't that long. I'll say it's a good zone, okay? I think it's a good zone. Visually, I think it was a great zone, but that was it. Krasaring Wilds. Sucked. Krasaring Wilds sucked. It was a shit-ass, dog shit-ass, garbage, piece of fucking trash. Not good area. Okay? It was boring. The patch 5.1 dailies were also boring. Crocuni. Crocun. When I say Crocun, I think of raccoon. And whenever I think of raccoon, I think of trash. And whenever I think of trash, I think of Crocun. Okay? And because of that, we're going to give Crocun, it is better than Antoran Wastes. Oh, great. I got a buff. Thank God. Kun-Lai Summit. I think it was decent. Like, it was a decent zone. And the quest lines with, like, Anduin, I think were pretty cool. But overall, I mean, are we counting, what's it called? Is it the Isle of Giants? Is that being counted? I don't see the Isle of Giants being counted at all. So we're gonna lump the Isle of Giants in the Kun-Lai Summit. And because we're lumping the Isle of Giants in the Kun-Lai Summit, we're going to move it up to a good category. Because I think that was really, really cool. I liked it a lot. Loch Modan. Loch Modan is everything that I could want in a World of Warcraft zone. The ogres in the upper right that you would have to fight in the group quest. The Old Snooty. Remember Old Snooty? Who remembers Old Snooty? He was an elite bear. You had to beat the shit out of him. I remember very distinctly doing Loch Modan quests with Esfand and McConnell back on the first or second day of Beta WoW. I'm going to give Loch Modan a great rating. I loved Loch Modan, and I think that it's a really good zone. Lost Isles. This is the, after you do Kazan, you go to the Lost Isles. And I actually think the Lost Isles are, I think it's a great zone. I think the opening for it is great. I feel like it is incredibly well done. And because of that, I'm going to give the Lost Isles a great rating. It's almost an amazing zone. The Lost Isles is almost, actually, you know what? Is it bottom tier amazing with like the whole quest line at the very end? And like the battle? Is it bottom end amazing? I don't know, guys. Like, you guys have to help me out with this and help me. No? Okay. All right, I'll keep it in like middle of the road. Maybe like right about here for Lost Isles. I think that's about accurate. Sure, something like that. I'll move Durotar up a bit, actually. Yeah, I'll move Durotar up a bit. McCree. Decent. I think it's decent. I'm trying to be generous. I think Antoran Wastes was the worst one, Crocun was the second worst one, and Makari was the least worst one, okay? I think Makari was, and that's what I really do mean it that way, by least worst, not best, least worst, okay? It could be much fucking better. I don't know what the hell is going on with this, but it's kind of mediocre. Now, Mechagon. Mechagon. I think Mechagon is an amazing zone. Not even a question. Mechagon is an amazing zone. It's dynamic. It changes daily. It has multiple mounts that you can chase after. It has a dungeon inside of it. It has its own individual crafting mechanics and reagents, an entire crafting system built into it. It has a progression system as well. I think Mechagon is an incredibly great zone, and I feel like it's actually truly amazing. I really like Mechagon a lot. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but this is my list. And in my list, Mechagon is an amazing zone. Moonglade. I think it's a decent zone. Like, I think it's a decent zone. It actually might be a bad zone. So there are a couple of things that are taking it out from being awful, okay? One of the things that's taking it out from being awful is the fact that you have to fight the Acranius, you have to fight Acranius, I believe, in the Scepter of the Shifting Sands quest line for opening the gates of AQ inside of Moonglade, and there's a raid boss that you have to fight inside of there. That is really cool. On top of that, you have Omen there as well from the lunar fucking event. That is really cool. It is a it's a side zone. Which one did I say was a side zone? I forgot even where was it. Deadwind Pass. Yeah, Deadwind Pass is also a side zone. But Moonglade wasn't really as cool. At least I don't feel like it was. Okay, Mulgore. What do I think about Mulgore? Mulgore is a great zone because it's wide and open. And because it's wide and open, I think that makes it good. But I think some people perceive that as being bad because it's empty. But I think the fact that it's empty adds quality and adds value to it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that, yeah, it's atmospheric. Nagrand from Outland. What do we rate Nagrand from Outland? Was it even ever a slight, maybe, possibility? It is a motherfucking amazing, dude. It is an amazing zone. It's not even a question. It's not even a possibility. It is an incredible fucking zone. And because it's one of my favorite zones, it is the best zone in Burning Crusade. And I absolutely love it. So I'm going to absolutely say that it's one of the best ones, okay? Great use of flying, though. Yeah, it had flying in it. It had everything that you could possibly imagine. It was fucking amazing. Now, Nagrand from Draenor. Here's the problem with Nagrand from Draenor, okay? I don't think that it was that great. I don't think it was that great. I don't think it was amazing either. I think that it was average at best, and it was just okay. Overall, it was a decent zone. I don't feel like it really did justice to the original Nagrand. The only thing that I really liked about it is the outdoor zone of Highmaul. The outdoor zone of Highmaul was the coolest part of the new Nagrand. Everything else besides that, I considered relatively boring. Okay, Nazjatar. I think Nazjatar is a genuinely good raid, or a good zone. I think it's very well put together, and I like it a lot. Nazjatar is a good zone. It has all of the different quest lines, the different rares, the summonable mobs, all that other kind of stuff. Nazmir. You guys want to know what we're going to rate Nazmir? We're going to put it in the fucking garbage. Nazmir is the worst zone in BFA. This is a dog shit ass zone. It sucks. I don't like it. It is one of the worst zones in the entire game, and I think that it absolutely deserves to have an awful placing, okay, guys? Nether Storm, I never really thought was a good area. I never did. I thought Nether Storm was an average zone, average at best zone. And it had some interesting ideas. It was unique and groundbreaking for its time. And because of how unique and groundbreaking it was for its time, I will give Nether Storm a great. It had some very interesting quests. The islands that were out that you had to fly to were really cool. For those reasons, I think that Nether Storm was a great zone. It's a low grade though. It's the least great of the great zones, but it is still a great zone. Purple equals win. Keep that in mind. Isle of Quel'Danas. The first daily hub that World of Warcraft ever truly had. There were a few things before that, but this is the first real one. The Isle of Quel'Danas, I remember logging on, and it'd be the boys. And we talk about how much we hated high school, and how we weren't gonna get jobs in college, how we were gonna play the game all the fucking time, and how our dads were assholes for making us want to get jobs. And we do our dailies, because that was the real job that we had, was the dailies in WoW, not the dailies in real life. The Isle of Quel'Danas was a great zone. It was not an amazing zone. Objectively, especially now, the Isle of Quel'Danas was quite mediocre. And because of that, I'm going to give it a middle of the road great rating. It was a middle of the road great rating. Red Ridge Mountains is my second favorite zone in the entire game. The original Red Ridge Mountains. You walk in. There's a boar. You walk in. There's a spider. Okay? You go to the town. It looks good. Red Ridge Mountains is what WoW is supposed to be. Like, in my mind, Red Ridge Mountains, that is WoW. And you go up, they send you a quest, and they say, you know what, you've got to go up north. And you go up north. And there's a tree. This is the tree. And this is you, you're walking by the tree, you're like, well, what's going on? And then there's an orc, he's like, hey! You walking down this road? This is my motherfucking road. I'm gonna root you and kill you, bitch. And they're all level 20 mobs. You're level 16. You're level 15. And they fuck you in the ass. You're dead. You're fucking done, bitch. It's done. You're tired. It's finished. It's over. Okay? So that's basically what it was. And then you finally get over to the other side. There's a gigantic fucking abandoned keep filled with orcs in it. Elite orcs. Their leader is at the top of that keep. You have an elite quest to kill their leader. There are so many mobs in that zone that normal quests still require groups. You have to kill Yowler. And don't forget about Belly Grub, the level 22 fucking mob that's in a level 16 questing zone. That boar will fuck you. So you know what? Level 24. He's a 24 boar, okay? Red Ridge Mountains is, in my opinion, the second greatest zone in the entire game. It perfectly encapsulates the essence of World of Warcraft. It is everything that WoW could and should be, and it is the best zone. The only thing, I don't know, like, I even almost think it's better than Grizzly Hills sometimes. Like, I go back and forth. It's so hard for me to decide which one's better. Searing Gorge. I think it's a great zone. The reason why I like Searing Gorge so much is because the questing there is actually good. Searing Gorge has everything that you need, but I will never give it an amazing rating because of the invisible Incendisaur that killed my original Iron Man character. That will never happen. So I'm going to go ahead and give Searing Gorge a great rating. Shadowmoon Valley in the original Outlands. The original act of the betrayal. Where Gul'dan is perverting the elements of the earth to do his bidding in his fell rituals. You have the warring Alliance and Horde. Shadowmoon Valley was the place where you would originally buy flying for many people for the first time. And then later on they added the Netherwing. The first, and still to this day, one of the best mount reputations that Blizzard has ever made. Shadowmoon Valley had everything. It had danger. It had highly powerful elites. It had world bosses. Remember Doomroller? There it is. Shadowmoon Valley was, in my opinion, a great zone. It was almost an amazing zone. It almost, you guys think, if I put it maybe right here. I put Shadowmoon Valley maybe as an amazing, and then, oh yes! Okay, and then you had the fucking goggles where you'd have to see the invisible dragon in the island that you'd have to use flying to get to, and then you'd have to fight the invisible dragon, and you'd get the fucking helmet that had 3 sockets. 3! And then you'd put that in there. Holy shit, yes. Okay, that's gonna be an amazing fucking zone. You're totally right. Shadowmoon Valley and Draenor. Bad. Bad. It's a bad zone. I don't like it, man. Just don't like it, man. It ain't what it needs to be, I tell you that. Here's why it sucks ass and sucks dick and sucks cock. You guys want to know? Number 1, missed opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities that this original zone had, and it missed out on every single one of them. It's basically the same problem that Frostfire Ridge had, but with Shadowmoon Valley, I thought it had the entire temple there. You had the entire original Black Temple that they just put in the fucking garbage. I was pissed off about that. Karabor Unfinished was fucking dumb. Yeah, you know why it was dumb? Because it was stupid. That's why. And I'm pissed off about it even now. Now, on top of that, you had a bunch of other stupid ass shit in the zone that there was really no reason to go and do. The quest lines didn't make any fucking sense, and there's no reason to do them because you'd level too fast. It was not a good zone. I would say that it was a bad zone. Not only because it was objectively bad, but on top of that, it had so many missed opportunities and missed possibilities. There were a bunch of other points in the zone, places in the zone, that were just annoying to quest through and play through, that had mobs that had way too much health, and these random elites that you'd have to deal with, or not elites, but like rare mobs that had a lot of health. It was just fucking stupid. So, yeah, I'm gonna rate it as a bad thing. Sholazar Basin. It will be the greatest of the greats, or the shittiest of the amazings. I am gonna put it as a great zone. Sholazar Basin had the 2 warring factions of the oracles and the dogs. I thought that was really cool. On top of it having the warring factions of the oracles and the dogs, on top of that, it had some of the best questing that the game's ever had. The Hemmet Nesting Warrior quests were amazing. And then integrating the 2 factions and the conflict between them was really well done. And then having you go back there later on in the upper reaches for different quests at the top peaks was really good too. Overall, I think Sholazar Basin was one of the better zones that we've had, and I genuinely think that it's a great zone. I'm gonna put it as my number 1 great zone right here. Silithus. Silithus, I am so nostalgic about Silithus. I am. I grew up thinking, I remember listening to Rush and farming in Silithus. I remember that so fucking clearly, man. It was beautiful. But if it wasn't for that nostalgia, I would not have spent a single second thinking about this. Objectively, Silithus is a terrible zone. It is. It's a bad zone. It's a desert. It's not only literally a desert, but it's metaphorically a desert. It's devoid of content and interesting events. All 3 of the different hives are just copy-paste from each other. There are a couple of cool little quests. And the only thing that's keeping this out of the awful category is the fact that there are some quests in there for the AQ40 stuff that I think would take it into a bad. I think it is the best bad zone in the game. Thunder Fury and AQ? Okay, you're right. Thunder Fury makes it decent. You're right. Thunder Fury makes it decent, and so does the Emissary Romaticon. Those two quest lines do make it decent. Okay? Yeah, that's it. Darkshore should be higher. That's what you get for saying that. Silverpine Forest. Silverpine Forest is to Horde what Red Ridge Mountains is to the Alliance. Silverpine Forest is a beautiful zone. It's beautiful in all of the worst ways. Seeing that wide open lake and like the Alliance keep in the middle of it, and then knowing that you had to kill them, seeing the rampaging Sons of Argol running around and then killing you the moment that you get a little bit overconfident thinking that you could take one of them on, the different quest lines, the mystery of it, and then the idea that there's an Alliance city that close to Lordaeron that you would have to deal with, and then they had full elites in there. I'm going to say that Silverpine Forest is not as good as Red Ridge Mountains. I don't think so, because it doesn't encapsulate the essence of World of Warcraft in the same way. But I think that Silverpine Forest is, in general, genuinely right below Loch Modan. It is a great zone, and I think it deserves that level of confidence on it. It is a great zone. Spires of Arak. The Spires of Arak. The Spires of Arak. This zone, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This zone sucks. It's a sucky zone. It's a bad zone. It is about right here. Like, I couldn't get into it. Like, I'm sorry to say, I couldn't get into the zone. I didn't like it, man. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like Spires of Arak. You know, call me an asshole, whatever you want to say, but I did not like Spires of Arak. That's really all it comes down to, I'm sorry to say. Stone Talon Mountains. Now, as an Alliance character, as an Alliance player, I do not truly have an appreciation for Stone Talon Mountains. So I will take the chat's advice on this one. It is a good zone. All right. We'll put it right here in terms of good. Stone Talon Mountains is a good zone. I think that seems fine to me. Decent. All right. Storm Peaks was the first zone to integrate flying into the leveling experience and make it fulfilling and fun. Storm Peaks had the Sons of Hodir that you would earn their trust and build up that reputation with them. It had the gigantic, sprawling city of Ulduar. Not just the raid, but also the outdoor zone that spanned the entire zone, or at least halfway through the entire zone. It had the different Thorim. It had Loken. It had these different characters in the lore that were obviously, you know, ripped off from Norse mythology. It had the time-lost Proto-Drake. It also had the quest line where you found out that you had actually secretly brought over Ashbringer into Northrend for Tyrian forgery. Storm Peaks. Storm Peaks is an amazing zone. I think it's better than Mechagon. I'm going to say Storm Peaks is an amazing zone. It was a very high quality zone, and it was the first time that Blizzard had ever tried to do what they did. I loved it. Anything is better than Mechagon. I think Mechagon was a great zone. I know this is a very contentious decision that I made, but I do think Mechagon was a great zone. We'll go on to the next one. Stormheim. Visually, Stormheim was my favorite zone in Legion. The questline, in my opinion, I think wasn't as good as High Mountain. I think the High Mountain questline was better, but other than that, I think that the Stormheim zone itself and the way that it looked was incredible, and the questline was really good. I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm just saying that it wasn't as good as the High Mountain one. I would say that Stormheim, I would rate it a high great zone. Probably right here above Azuna. Stormheim is a great zone that I would rate that highly. It's an amazing, good zone. Grappling hook, it wasn't big enough. It didn't really matter a whole lot to me, man. What happened to Sholazar Basin? It's the #1 great zone, but it didn't quite make the cut into an amazing zone. Okay, give me a second. Let's look at the next one. Stormsong Valley. Now, Stormsong Valley is, in my opinion, the second best zone. It is the second best zone in BFA. You have the innocent townspeople with the looming threat of the Lovecraftian horror of the gigantic fucking tide monsters and the weird tentacle fuckers. You have this entire area that's been designed and created that you're not even able to go to. You have these gigantic mountains. You have the honeybee event and the things that you can do there as well. There are a number of quest lines that you can do in that area, and I really like the way that the houses are designed in that place, and it feels like an actual real like fantasy village. I think Stormsong Valley is a great zone. I think Stormsong Valley is an absolutely great zone. And because of that, I'm going to rate it a mid-tier great zone. Does that make sense? I honestly thought it was the worst zone. Well, that's a wrong opinion, so I guess we all have those sometimes. We're going to put it right about here. It is a middle-of-the-road great zone. The questline was also very good and interesting. I liked it a lot. Stranglethorn Vale. Think about it, guys. Think about it. Okay. Gentlemen, I'm going to rate Stranglethorn Vale as a probably, I'm going to rate it right here. It is a great zone. I'm going to put it right here down at the bottom. The reason why I'm going to rate Stranglethorn Vale, I'll actually put it up here. Yeah, I'll put it up here, right below Nagrand. Here's why I'm going to rate Stranglethorn Vale very high. It has the outdoor component of the Zandalari ZG raid. It also, on top of that, has a large variation of the different types of mobs that are in there. There is the Zandalari Arena, the Gurabashi Arena, excuse me. And then there's also Jagero Isle, which is a level 50 zone that's in Stranglethorn Vale. For those who are able to wander too far off the beaten path and end up making their way over there, they're greeted by skull-level panthers. That's scary. The fishing event as well. There's a 30 to 50 zone. There are elite mobs that are 50s, and there are elite mobs that are like 35s. There's so much to do in Stranglethorn Vale that players find themselves coming back to it multiple times while leveling. And because of that, I think that Stranglethorn Vale is an amazing zone. I think so. Suramar. Suramar was Blizzard's first attempt at a truly narratively driven zone, full with cutscenes, and to make questing an actual endgame. Suramar featured full voice acting, an entire sprawling city that existed purely for as a vehicle to tell the story of the Nightfallen and how they've lived. Suramar is an amazing zone. Suramar deserves to be put as an amazing zone. Not only because Suramar is amazing in itself, but Suramar represented a decision that Blizzard made and a chance that Blizzard took. Withered bias? It's a chance that Blizzard made, a chance that Blizzard took, and it was a very, very well decided chance. I like Suramar a lot. I think that it was incredibly well done, and I think that it was probably the best iteration of that. I think they kind of tried to do that with the war campaign in BFA, and it failed miserably. So Suramar is absolutely an amazing zone, and I think that it was incredibly well done. Suramar below Elwynn Forest? It's really kind of hard to define, and like, because like there's so much of it that's contextual, you know, but like I think Suramar is really, really, really good. Swamp of Sorrows. Swamp of Sorrows. I think Swamp of Sorrows is a bad zone. I think Swamp of Sorrows genuinely is dog shit. There are almost no redeeming qualities of Swamp of Sorrows, except for a few of the roaming 60 dragons, which are kind of cool. The zone is a convoluted mess, and the only thing that's interesting about it is Sunken Temple, and the only thing interesting about Sunken Temple is getting pissed off because you have no idea how the fuck to zone in. Swamp of Sorrows is an awful zone. There are no quests that are meaningful across the entire thing, except for maybe some as Horde. Overall, it is true to its name. And I am sad whenever I go to Swamp of Sorrows, because of how fucking terrible it is. Diamond Flask, it doesn't matter. That's inside of a dungeon. Like, that's like saying that Storm Peaks is good because Ulduar is in Storm Peaks. No. Swamp of Sorrows is a dog shit area. Okay? Talador. Tala dog shit. Tala motherfucking stupid ass dog shit. Here's why. Talador had the opportunity to tell the story of what Shatrath City was before it was Shatrath. But instead of that, they added in a full sprawling city of elite demons that you had no reason to ever go into. It simply existed for no purpose whatsoever. Talador is an example of a cut corner and a wasted opportunity in Warlords of Draenor. The questing that did exist was mediocre at best. Oh, wow! Let's go save a bird! Ooh! Who gives a fuck about that shit? Who gives a fuck about that shit? Nobody gives a fuck about that bird. The quests were trash. Nothing good about Talador. It's a bad zone. Tanaan Jungle. I think it was a decent zone. I think it was right about here. Tanaan Jungle, they tried to do some interesting things. They had the elite plateau. I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, the dailies were boring. They were uneventful. The rares were meaningless. The upgrade gear was pointless. It just wasn't a fun zone to be in. You cannot compare it to something like the Timeless Isle. It was a sad, pathetic knockoff. It was not even remotely close to as fun as Timeless Isle was. The zones were way too spread out. There were trees fucking everywhere. The only cool things about it were few and far between. And overall, again, it came from WoD, so it must suck dick. I'm sorry, man. Tanner ass. I think that Tanaris was a decent zone. I don't think that it was a great zone. I really don't. The quests were fucking annoying. The only good part of it were the pirate quests. The only other thing that was cool about it, like, I will compromise and say that it was a good zone because of the Oldham area in the very back, and then also with the partial ZG thing and the minor infestation of the Karaji bugs that's in the far east side. Okay? So I will compromise and say, you know what? It is a good zone, but is a bottom of the barrel good zone. I think Tanaris is one of those places that people are really nostalgic about, and it blinds their vision. Caverns of Time? Should I count Caverns of Time into Tanaris? Because if I do, yeah, it goes into the great category 100%. Okay, all right, let's go. All right, Tanaris is a great one. Let's put it up here. Sounds good. That makes sense. Let's go. Next one. Teldrassil. I actually think Teldrassil was an amazing zone. And here's why. Teldrassil had all of the core elements of what makes a zone good. And here's why. Number one of the main things that it had that made it good is the fact that it existed inside of a tree. And existing inside of a tree in the way that it did was something that was unique to the game back then. And it was really, really cool whenever you finally got outside of the tree and you saw the perspective inside of it. And because of that, I thought Teldrassil did a great job. The fact that Darnassus existed inside of it, and there were a few little things you could go out on the edge and see out from on top of it was amazing. On top of that, they had a number of cool little quests of the different little bits of corruption inside of Teldrassil. And for all of these reasons, I believe Teldrassil to be an amazing zone, especially for its time. So we're going to give Teldrassil, we're going to make it an amazing zone. And I'm going to put it kind of at the bottom. It wasn't really that amazing, in my opinion. It's okay. But I'm going to put it like right about here. Okay? Teldrassil's right about there. I think that makes sense. Let me go to the next one. Terokkar Forest. Good. It was a good zone. Okay. It was a good zone. It had the PvP event that nobody cared about. Remember that? No, you don't, because nobody cared about it. It had the Ogre-La dailies, or sorry, the Shatari Skyguard dailies at the very top. That was really cool, and there was a little bit of depth involved with that. But overall, I don't think that it was that great. Auchindoun alone was great. It was okay, but I don't think that it was great. I think that it was a cool zone. It was very well done. But the best thing about Terokkar Forest was the actual zone itself and not the quests inside of it. And most of the quests inside of it were pretty boring as well. I think that it was a murmur. No, you're not going to put it in there. Like, it was a good zone. It was a middle-of-the-road good zone. Nothing special about it. The Barrens. The Barrens. Here we go. The Barrens is what every MMO is supposed to be. The Barrens is the quest that you run all the way from the top to the bottom to complete, and you realize that you didn't pick up the item right next to the quest giver that you needed to unlock the chest at the bottom of the zone. Terokkar Forest not only had the outdoor versions of Razorfen Downs and Razorfen Crawl, but it also had a large depth of different zones, and because it was so large and so expansive, it made players feel like they were truly in a world and not a game. Because of that, The Barrens is an incredible zone. It's an amazing zone. And because of that, I'm going to say that it's one of the best ones. 100% it's S tier. It's S tier in all the ways that it shouldn't be. Like, all the ways that the Barrens should not be S tier, it is. And that's just the way that it goes. That's what makes sense to me. New Baron sucks dick? It doesn't really matter. Timeless Isle. Okay, this one's pretty easy, right? Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Timeless Isle is obviously amazing. It was one of the best zones ever made. And don't get too hung up on where I place these inside of here. These are just really kind of random, and I haven't really thought them out. Like, I can't make a tier list that's that specific, okay? Like, let's be real. I can't really do that. I'm trying to be like, generally, yeah, these are the best ones, these are the worst ones, but for the most part, like, one of them being ahead of another one, it's I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Tiragarde Sound. I think that it was a bad zone. I did not like Tiragarde Sound. I thought it was a shitty zone. I thought the quests were fucking garbage. I thought the area itself was boring. I did not like Tiragarde Sound. I'm sorry to say. I didn't like the way that it really looked outside of Kultiris. I just thought it was mediocre. I'm sorry. Or is that not Kultiris? Yeah, Boreal. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was just boring, man. I'm gonna rate it a bad zone. Now, Tirisfal Glades. I have so much good nostalgia for this zone. And also the fact that you had the Scarlet Crusade that was breathing down the necks of the undead and then building up their own fortress at the very top with the Scarlet Cathedral and all of that. I think that Tirisfal Glades is a great zone. I like it a lot. Is it an amazing zone? I think it's bottom of the barrel amazing. It's bottom of the barrel amazing, somewhere like right there. It's not that great, but I do think that it's good. How about that? Tol Barad. Tol Barad. I think Tol Barad, as some people like to call it, this was a mediocre average zone. Nothing special, nothing unique, nothing cool. It was just a mediocre, decent, bottom of the barrel, decent zone. The quests were boring and repetitive. They had no real depth to them at all. You would just randomly do them, and that would be it. There was nothing to it. It was boring. Town-long steppes. Here's the facts, guys. Town-long steppes has sea monsters in it. And because it has sea monsters in it, it's a great zone. That's it. That's literally all it takes for me. It has the Krakens in it. It has Ganathis in it. It has the other monsters in it too. It has the Siege of Nizao Temple, where Nizao is fighting all the little monsters. It is an amazing, really cool looking zone, and I believe that it actually is a great zone. I like Town-long steppes a lot, and I think that it deserves Nazmir sea monsters. Yeah, but not really. But not really, though. Twilight Highlands. I'm going to say Twilight Highlands was also a great zone. I know a lot of you guys are saying it's decent or whatever. I think that it's a bottom of the barrel great zone, top of the barrel good zone. Twilight Highlands is amazing, and I like it a lot. I think the dwarves being involved and then having like that. The best part about Twilight Highlands is the giant fucking circle of tentacles with like the maw that's coming out of it from the old gods. That is the coolest fucking thing in the zone, and the fact that it's like hidden away is even cooler. And I think because of that, Twilight Highlands is a great zone. I'm gonna put it down to there, okay? Now Oldham. Oldham, in my opinion, I never really liked it a lot. I never really liked Oldham a lot, but a lot of you guys really liked it a lot. For me, Like, I don't know, man. It was just like, it's okay. It's a good zone. Sure. But the Harrison Jones, I don't know. I feel like too much of that, like, I don't know, too many references, man. Like, I don't know really how else to say it besides that. Too many fucking references. I couldn't get into it. I'm sorry to say. I just could not fucking get into it. So I'll put Oldham at, like, let's say I'll put it as a high good. It is the most good zone, okay? Ungoro Crater. I think Ungoro Crater was a great zone. I don't think that it was an amazing zone, but I think that it was a great zone. Ungoro Crater is one of those zones that's actually gotten better with age because of the dynamics that the Devil Stars caused with, like, their scarcity. I think that was really cool, and the fact that that evolved in that way was awesome. And I'm gonna say, excuse me, I'm gonna say Ungoro Crater was a great zone. Middle of the road, middle of the pack, great zone. I'm gonna put it right here. Crystal Towers, great experiment. Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of really cool things. Now, the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Okay. Okay. You didn't fucking do anything. You didn't fucking do anything in the zone. It looked beautiful. Let's be real. It did. It was a beautiful, amazing, great-looking zone visually. But there wasn't a whole lot to do in the zone, especially before 8.3. And it was just kind of fucking boring. The dailies were garbage. I'm sorry, man, but it's just not that cool. The only cool thing about it was going inside into the Mogu Temple and having to navigate through the different steps. That was really cool, and that was the only thing that was really cool. The Sky Shards was kind of cool, yeah. I would say it's a good zone, bottom of the barrel good zone. Bottom of the barrel good zone. Valley of the Four Winds. Visually, a great zone. Questing wise, a great zone. It's a great zone. The Tillers? Oh, bro. Okay, it's up at the top. Yeah, Valley of the Four Winds. Yeah, one of the best zones. Like, yeah. Okay, I forgot all about the Tillers. Val Shira. I'll be honest. I think Val Shira was an okay zone. I don't think it was that great. It was, in my opinion, kind of boring. I think it was a good zone. If I was going to say what the best good zone is, it would probably be Val Shira, maybe. But I would rate it as a good. That's about it. Ysera Death, I don't really give a shit about that. I'm just saying in general. Yeah, that's about it. It was my least favorite zone. Yeah, mine too. It was my least favorite zone in Legion, besides the Broken Shore. Now, Vashir. There's a lot of zones. Underwater stuff has always had a bad reputation. Ever since the Water Temple and Ocarina of Time, anytime you add water into the mix, you can guarantee that you're about to get fucked in the ass. And you know what? That's why in chat right now, there are people that are either saying it's the worst or the best zone. An awful zone or an amazing zone. And usually I would say that the answer is somewhere in the middle. But in this case, it's not. The answer is just simply that it is an amazing zone. The questing was incredible. The expansiveness of the zone was unbelievably massive. It was 3 times bigger than any other zone that we'd really ever had at that time. It had sea monsters. It had unique questing. It had its own movement theme. It had the terrifying nature of the depths with, like, the giant whale sharks and everything like that. Vashir is an amazing zone. Period. Vol'dun. Vol dog shit. Vol dog shit ass stupid fucking bullshit zone. You got furries coming out of this zone. You got snakes coming out of this zone. The snake area was really fucking cool. I remember seeing that for the first time and I was excited. I thought it was awesome. And outside of that, I didn't give a fuck. I'm sorry to say, I just really didn't give a fuck about Vol'dun. I never really liked it a whole lot. It's just a desert, and it played like a desert too. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a solid good rating. Middle of the road good rating. It's a decent zone, and that's about it. Wandering Isle, I don't give a fuck about this. This is the panda shit. I'm just gonna put it as decent. I've never done the Wandering Isle. I'm going to just ignore that one. Yeah, I don't care at all. I just won't rate it. I won't rate it. Westfall. Westfall is an amazing zone. Here's why Westfall is an amazing zone. It's very simple. Westfall is an amazing zone because it tells a story that's not one-sided. It tells a story about Edwin Van Cleef and the uprising against Stormwind. And because of that story, Van Cleef did nothing wrong. Well, the fact that you're even saying that indicates the fact that it did a great job. And that's exactly why it's amazing, okay? I want you guys to understand that. It's an incredibly well done place, and I like it a lot. It's really, really good. So you know what? It's absolutely going to be an amazing zone. It's also, of course, super nostalgic in many ways, and I think that absolutely people do deserve to go through that at least once or twice in Classic WoW and see what it's like. Also, the outdoor version of Dead Mines, where you're able to do the quests in there for the miners cards and stuff like that, is also really cool and interesting. And it's the first time that you really kind of step out into the world as an Alliance player, at least human, and get to experience it for what it really is. It was fucking awesome. Westfall is absolutely an amazing zone. Wetlands. Wetlands is it's a good zone. It's a good zone. It's got some pretty cool quests in Menethil Harbor and Classic. It's pretty cool. Like it's not amazing, but it's pretty cool. And like the Dark Iron quests are pretty cool too. The bridge thing where you have to like jump over onto like the middle area with the bridge, that's really cool too. There's plenty of things that are cool about Wetlands, but I don't really think that it's amazing. It's just a good zone. That's all. And it's like a bottom of the barrel good zone too. It's not like a great zone or anything like that. Winter Grasp. Winter Grasp. You guys that are saying amazing, did you guys play during Wrath? Because Winter Grasp, so much more often than being this glorious siege conquest, was a lag fest, or this is what basically Winter Grasp was on Kel'Thuzad. There were like 3 Horde, and they were AFK at the Spirit Reser with an immunity shield around them, with 8 different tanks pounding artillery onto the immunity shield, so the second they zoned out, they would immediately die. Winter Grasp was a really cool idea. It didn't play out very well, but regardless of that, I'm gonna say it was a great zone. Because Blizzard took a lot of risks with it, and because it took so many risks with Winter Grasp, and they did something that they had never done before, I respect that a lot, and I think because of that, Winter Grasp is going to be a great zone. And also, like, being able to control Winter Grasp and have access to the raid that drops PvP gear, that's fucking awesome. So yeah, Winter Grasp is actually going to be a great zone. Winter Spring. So you have the cave with the blue dragonkin, And the cave leads you up to the very top, where you rendezvous with a member of the Blue Dragon Flight to help you infiltrate the castle within Blackrock Mountain to defeat General Drakaseth. And then you gain the admittance to Onyxia's lair. You go across the bridge into the Tainted Scar. No, that's in Blasted Lands. I forgot what it is. The whatever the fucking area is with all the elite fucking mobs. That was really cool, actually. You also had, for the first time, Dark Whisper Gorge. There it is, Dark Whisper Gorge. You had, for the first time, a reputation that had no real purpose other than to just give you a mount. It was extremely hard, it was obtuse, it was a grind, and it wasn't fun. But if you didn't have a job, and you were searching for further meaning in life, you too would be exalted with the Winter Spring Frost Sabers. And because of that, I'm going to give the Winter Spring, I'm going to say, is a high great zone. Blizzard took a lot of risks with Winter Spring. I don't think that it's an amazing zone. I just don't think so. But I think that it's as close to amazing as you can get. Western Plaguelands. Easy. Literally the easiest easy that's ever been easied. It was so well done. You make your way into Chillin Point. You fight through the Scourge. You see the destroyed ruins of Skolomonts. You look to your right and you see the destroyed ruins of Anderhall. And then among all of the ruins, a level 61 elite motherfucker, Araj the Summoner, and you just get a quest to kill him at level 51. So you're going up against a 61 elite at level 51, and there's no way that you could ever do that. You have Uther's Tomb. You go across, and then you have all the different fields that are just full of undead and teeming with these evil monsters. And then finally, at the very edge of it, at the very top, you start to see a little bit more of the presence of the Scarlet Crusade. And then you saw them also on the adjacent zone in Tirisfal Glades. And then finally, after you got up to level 58 or 59 or so, you finally got a big enough dick to go up that road, up near the Scarlet Crusade, and right there to their very leader, Talon Fordring. Tyrion Fordring's son, who had been mind-controlled, and not mind-controlled, lied to and manipulated into thinking that their cause was just. And you, along with his father Tyrion, help him escape. And it's a full level 55 plus elite zone. The depth of that zone is massive. The quest lines that it offers are intense and important and meaningful. Western Plaguelands is one of the best and most important zones in the game. I love Western Plaguelands. You do the massive AoE pulls, yeah, and then you have all the metagaming. Exactly. It's great. It's even amazing. Zangarsh Marsh. So, I think Zangar Marsh is a great zone. I don't think that it's an amazing zone, and here's why. Zangar Marsh it didn't really innovate on anything. It was just a really good questing zone. It was a really good questing zone. The quests were awesome. The scenery was really cool. Having Coilfang Reservoir in the middle of it was awesome too. I think that it was fucking awesome, okay? Was it amazing? It's hard to say, but it was certainly great, and it might even be amazing. But I think that it's great. Zuldrak. Zuldrak is, in my opinion, a good zone. I didn't think that it was particularly... Actually, I mean, like, so... Okay, the zone really gets good whenever you have the Drakuru quest line and you pretend to be a Scourge and you're acting as a double agent. I think that was really, really cool. But outside of that, I don't think that the zone was that great. It was just running around and trying to save these stupid Loas, which are like, oh wow, this is a super bird. Oh, it's a super bear. Oh great, okay, let's make sure we save him. Nobody gives a fuck about that. It doesn't matter. And it had the Ring of Blood? No, it didn't. It had the Scuffed Ring of Blood. The original Ring of Blood was in Nagrand, which is why Nagrand is an amazing zone, and Zuldrak is it's a bottom of the barrel great zone, top of the barrel good zone. That's about where we're at, man. I'm sorry to say. It had Thrym. Thrym the Hope Devourer that is a very, if I was gonna put it in good, and now that you brought up Thrym, you're right, now it goes over to great. Zuldazar. I made it no secret that I think that the Horde zones in BFA suck, right? Like, I think they suck. I think almost all of the Horde zones in BFA are dog shit. I don't like them a whole lot. I think they're mediocre, and it's just like, I don't know, like, they're not really amazing to me. They're just kind of okay. I get why people like them, but to me personally, it just doesn't appeal to me. And the best things about Zuldazar are the fact that they have long boys. What do you guys think? Because I'm probably going to rate it as a bad, but I feel like Horde players will start malding too much if I rate another one of their zones as bad. Okay, I'll rate it as a decent. All right, it's a decent zone. There you go, all right? So here we are. So these are the amazing zones right here. These are the great zones right here. These are the good zones right here. The decent zones. Where's Tranquillian? Who gives a fuck? That's a stupid ass, like, Blood Elf bullshit zone. Who cares about that? Decent zones. Good zones. Bad zones. And then the worst zones. I think Antoran Wastes is probably the worst zone ever. Actually, Crystalsong Forest is worse than that. Nazmir is... Antoran Wastes is worse than Nazmir. Nazmir is better than... I think Swamp of Sorrows is better than Nazmir. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, this is the ones that I don't like the most. Where's Silithus? Silithus is... I think it's... Yeah, decent zone. Yeah, Silithus is a decent zone. I mean, but I gotta say this, right? I mean, most of the zones in WoW are great and amazing. Like, we should definitely say that. Like, they've done a very good job at making good zones. So I don't really have a lot bad to say about the zones in general. I think that they've done a very, very good job. And what's the worst of the worst? I think the worst zone in the game is probably Crystalsong Forest. That's pretty much it. So anyway, boys, we had a good stream today. I had a good time. I hope you guys did too. And until next time, boys. Peace!